Section number 6 of Shadowland, September 1919. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Shadowland, September 1919, by Various. Evangeline. Evangeline, told in story form by Alice Lane. There are loves that endure for the lifetime of a kiss, the length of light laughter, the bud and bloom of a rose. There are loves that last and grow stronger when watered by tears. It was springtime in Arcady, rosy spring in the orchards, green spring on the hills, white spring in the hearts of men and maids of Grand Prix. The dim gray gloom of the old church of Our Lady of the Pity was lightened with flashing glances, the sparkle of dark eyes below demure lashes, smiles that darted swift as the swallow's wing. "I love you," said the glances. "And I you," said the smiles. "You are so beautiful. None of the others have hair so soft and dark as yours. You are strong. You are brave. I will love you as no one ever loved before. I will be faithful till the heart of me is dust." "It is God's beautiful way," Father Felician said softly. "There will be need of me at your house before the leaves fall, Benedict Bellefontaine." The two old men stood together in the doorway of the stone church, watching the pairing couples moving down the path. The last of these couples was a girl of flower slimness and sweet young curves, and a youth with the shoulders and thighs of one of the gods that walked the earth before men grew too wise for them. "It is plain to see how it is with them," Benedict sighed. "Since the days when he carried her, a laughing little wench on his back, there has been no one but Gabriel. It is hard to say when she fell in love with him. Rather, she has always been in love with him, though I think they do not know it yet." "They will find out soon, by the look of things," the old priest smiled. "And then there will be a wedding, and afterwards another of God miracles, a home. They call Evangeline in the village the sunshine of St. Eulalie, and she will fill her husband's house with sunshine and, please God, with strong, rosy children who will lay flowers on our graves, brother, in the years to come. A good world, Benedict Bellefontaine, a good world." But the other shook his head doubtfully. "There is a shadow over Arcady," he murmured. "Strange things are brewing. This morning I thought I heard guns, though it was but a woodpecker's drumming, and the scent of my orchard is bitter like the tang of gunpowder. And all this week past, Gale, the half-witted, has been walking the fields wailing, 'Woe to Arcady! Woe to Arcady the fair!' To him, at least, there seemed no shadow anywhere across the world, only golden light and the strange, piercing pain of birds' mating calls, and themselves suddenly alone under the far, wide sky. They had paused by the gateway that led to the fair acres of the Bellefontaine farm, and had been speaking gaily of the promised yield of grain and the new hatched brood of ducks swimming in the pool beneath the willows, when they grew silent and looked into each other's faces, and tremblingly away. "Evangeline," said Gabriel breathlessly. "Oh, Evangeline, how beautiful you are! Evangeline!" His voice lingered along her name as though it loved it. He leaned across her shoulder, and she felt his great frame shaking, and her hands stole to her soft, low girl bosom. "Evangeline," Gabriel said again brokenly. "Do you know?" The light in her eyes was like stars shining in a deep forest pool. "I know," Evangeline nodded. "It is strange, Gabriel, but I think I have always known. Still, tell it to me now." "I love you, Evangeline." "And I love you, Gabriel. You are so beautiful. None of the others have hair so dark and fine and fragrant as yours. You are so strong, mon homme, so brave. I will love you forever and ever." The old fugue of love, the old harmonies of sighs and whispers and broken words with the lilt of laughter running through the old mating song of mankind. The sky was red with sunset when they came, hand in hand, up the lane to Benedict Bellefontaine, smoking his long pipe in the latticed door. The light on their faces was not from the sun. It dazzled his old eyes, bringing the easy tears of the aged. He kissed his daughter's forehead and then Gabriel's. "Let it be soon, my children," he told them, smiling. "I would see you happy before I die." "Before the leaves turn," Gabriel answered, "I will have our cottage built. It is early still, there is time for much to be done ere autumn." And he looked down at the girl hungrily, the blood leaping to his brown cheeks as he lifted her face gravely to kiss his. "Much may be done in the space of a leaf's life. Ay, you are right, Gabriel, much may be done. Adown the leafy lanes of Arcady goes Gale, the half-wit, keening his prophecy of woe, and the lads make mock of him. But what of those ships that sail ever nearer and nearer over the water toward the Arcadian shores? England had asked from her unwilling subjects an oath of allegiance, had asked and had been refused. What? Promise to take up arms against France, their mother? To strike at the beloved breast that had nourished them? As well ask the men of Arcady to open their veins and drain them of the French blood that flowed warm within. England the arrogant had asked and had been refused. What next? When the thunder rolled over the peaceful valleys in a summer storm, cannon, thought old Benedict Bellefontaine with a heavy heart, and when the lightning pierced the sky with bayonet of flame, the torch, and when the rain beat against the diamonded casement, women's tears. "My father is troubled sorely," Evangeline told her lover. "Can it be that aught will happen?" "No, no," he reassured her from his joy. "There is nothing wrong that can come into a world as beautiful as this, dear heart." And so, engrossed in their own enchantment, the summer slipped away, and the little cottage that Gabriel was building for their home was almost done. In the great farmhouse of Bellefontaine, Evangeline moved shyly about her tasks, her lips curved always in a little smile, while the hands that smoothed her store of home-woven linen were caressing and tender like a mother's fondling the clothes of her firstborn. And as they worked and dreamed, the storm gathered unseen. "Come down, Evangeline," pleaded the lover, standing one morning in early September beneath her window. "You know it is this afternoon that General Winslow has commanded all the men of Grand Prix to come to the church and listen to his Majesty's edict, and it is long to wait for a kiss till this evening." "Father Felician says that it is good for men to learn patience," she reminded him archly. "However," she took a rose from her bosom and kissed it, "you shall have this to solace you till evening. Come home from the meeting with my father, and you shall taste bread of my own making, and a marvellous cake, a very miracle of a cake of white flour and spices and citron that came from the Indies on the last packet." But the cake was never eaten, for at dusk came a white-faced neighbor woman stumbling up the lane and screeching out the dire news. "Our men! They've locked them up in the chapel, and English soldiers guard the doors. We shall never see our men again." Evangeline, white as her kerchief, calmed the frightened handmaids, smiling gallantly with lips from which all colour had drained. "'Tis not likely they will detain them long. Why should they? They have done no wrong. Come, let us take their places for tonight and care for the livestock. Tomorrow will bring happier tidings." But under the light words her heart was sick and cold. "Gabriel," she whispered as she fed the lambs in the sheepfold. "Oh, Gabriel, and I only gave you a rose!" For 5 anxious days, 5 dragging nights, Grand Prix was a widowed village, and the women went about their unfamiliar tasks with stunned looks and eyes wept dry. On the 6th day, Father Felician, whom the English had accepted because of his holy offices, came to the farm of Bellefontaine with a heavy heart, and led Evangeline inside from the curious serving-maids. "My child, God is good and wise, and we must not ask to understand his ways," he told her. "Can you bear ill news?" "I can bear anything except the loss of Gabriel and my father," she answered steadfastly. "Tell me, what has become of them? What is to become of us all?" "The English have decided to take the Arcadians from their land," the old priest said in a voice become feeble within the last week. "They are to be transported on the ships that have lain all summer in the harbor, taken to America and there scattered so that they may never bear arms against England." "The men only?" Her face was wild, and he hastened to reassure her. "No, no. Everyone is to go, men and women and children, and their lands are to be seized. It is hard, very hard. His faded eyes rested upon the peaceful landscape before them, the gentle field dotted with grain sheaves, the little town nestling in the dip of the hills. I had hoped to sleep the long sleep in the soil of Grand Prix, my beloved, but the Lord knows best. We are in the Lord's hands. So long as it be together, Evangeline spoke calmly. What does it matter? Any place in the length and breadth of the world, so long as we be together. Father Felician, looking into her luminous face, could not tell her the terror that nagged his soul, the fear that in the confusion and hurry of embarking there might be separations, families torn asunder, heartbreak and suffering. The October morning was gay over Grand Prix, sprinkling the red tiles of the rooftops with a spray of gold, showering the white walls of the houses with leaf shadows. From the chapel issued a file of haggard men who searched the groups of bystanders with wild anxiety, seeking their own among the weeping women and children awed into silence by the strange happenings. Benedict Bellefontaine, walking among the first of the prisoners, gave a great shout of horror. "Look, neighbors!" He pointed a trembling hand. "They are burning our homes! 4 generations of Bellefontaines lived beneath that roof-tree, brought their wives thither, died and were buried from it. Look at it now!" From out the crowd of distraught women, a slender girl figure came running, wound warm white arms about his neck. "Father, where is Gabriel? My poor father, do not look at the flames of our home. We will carry home with us in our hearts, we 3, and rebuild it again in new lands." All along the line, women were casting themselves upon the breasts of their men, and the soldiers, sickened by their task and anxious to get it over quickly, were dragging them away. Everywhere the white face of despair met the eye. Amid their pitiful huddle of household possessions, with the whimpering children dragging at their skirts, they stood, for the most part, strangely silent, like figures in some uneasy dream. "Evangeline!" The call was low, but she heard it with the ears of the soul, and sprang to the side of her lover. He held out his manacled hands to her in a gesture of infinite love and longing. "Dear heart, have courage. I love you always. Remember that, if anything should happen." "And I you, Gabriel," she answered, laying her head against his breast. For the first time it came to her that there was a possibility of separation, but above the panic of her heart she managed a brave smile. "Always, to the last day of my life, and beyond that, I will love you and be faithful to you." He stooped to kiss her, but a guard dragged him away. Their last glimpse of each other was a brave smile, a lifting of the hand. "Goodbye, beloved, for a little while." A little while, a lifetime. Evangeline! Gabriel! The ship that bore the sunshine of Saint Eulalie and her father out of the harbor of Grand Prix, with the smoke from the ruined village blowing across her decks and veiling her desolation in merciful haze, was not that which bore Gabriel. When at last she became convinced of that, she had a moment of black despair, as though a flash of second sight had shown to her what was to come. Then, bravely, she laughed away her fears. "When we reach shore," she told her father almost gaily, "we shall find him waiting. It is foolish to borrow trouble." In the long journey she was the leaven in the sodden hopelessness of the prisoners, comforting those who had been torn from their families, bringing smiles to the pale, frightened faces of the children, courage to the souls of the men. And even when there was no Gabriel waiting at the end of the journey, she did not falter. "It is too soon for him to come. I was foolish to expect it," she said cheerfully. "We will wait here for him." They waited, and the autumn died on a pyre of crimson and golden leaves, and the winter came, but not Gabriel. Something of the sweet roundness was gone from Evangeline's cheeks, but her eyes were bright and tearless. "Come, father," she bade old Benedict Bellefontaine steadfastly. "We will not wait any longer, for it has come to me that Gabriel would not be like to hear of us here. We will go and find him instead. Father Felician has told me that one party of our people went down the river they call the Mississippi. No doubt he was among them and has tarried to make a home for us, knowing we were coming." So, with staff and a small pack of possessions, they set out on their weary quest, and with the opening of the spring they came to the yellow waters of the river they sought, and there, on its banks, they found familiar faces, neighbors of Arcady, already settled in tiny log homes. "Gabriel and his father, Basil, the blacksmith, left us and went down the river 2 leagues from here," they told Evangeline. "There they have tilled a few acres and built a cabin." That night Evangeline dreamed that she was held in the strong arms of her beloved, and woke with her heart high with hope. In a canoe driven by friendly Indians they went down the stream, and on the morning of the second day saw smoke ascending to the clear blue sky from the chimney of a rude cabin. Basil, the blacksmith, came to meet them, but Evangeline, looking for Gabriel, scarce saw him. The smith spoke slowly. "It is strange you did not see my son. He left me but yesterday. He goes to the Ozark Mountains by the Indian Trail to trade for furs. I sent him hoping to cure him of grieving for his lost Arcadian happiness." There, in the strange new land, Basil had set up a shrine to the Virgin, the Lady of Sorrows, a rudely carved image of wood. Before it, Evangeline knelt and prayed. "Lady, thou knowest the heart of a woman. Thou hast wept a woman's tears. Lady, watch over my Gabriel in his comings and goings. Lady, comfort him, and tell him that I am faithful." Another spring cast its bridal blush over the land. The petals fell from alien apple blossoms, and they wandered, seeking the missing lover, in tiny hamlet and frontier town. Sometimes there was report of him. Once they came to a cabin where Gabriel had halted only 3 days before, but they never quite caught up with him. Late in the second autumn, word came to them that he had established his lodge in the wilderness, 10 leagues up a tributary stream in the country of the Shawnees. Evangeline would have followed at once, but the Indians refused to take a canoe up the stream that was already ice-coated. When at length she reached it, the lodge was deserted, though there were signs that it had been recently occupied. Standing in the place that his feet had so recently trodden, she fought for patience and courage, fought and won. "Something tells me that I shall see you before I die, Gabriel, my dear one," she whispered. "Perhaps it may be soon, but the time will come sometime, and I shall never rest day or night till it comes." Again began her search, no longer gaily, but with the endurance of strong faith, the patience of strong love. Old Benedict Bellefontaine grew feeble as the months passed and became years, and at length closed his eyes on the world that had been so unfriendly. "Give it up, my child," he begged her with his last breath. "Marry some other, and find happiness while you are still young." But Evangeline shook her head. "There is none other but Gabriel," she said, "for me in all the world." Alone she took up her seeking, sometimes in populous places, sometimes following some fugitive clue into the wilderness. Unnoticed youths slipped away, and the dark hair that her lover had kissed grew gray, but her eyes were the eyes of the girl Evangeline. "Have you seen Gabriel, son of Basil the blacksmith?" she would ask of all she met. "He is very tall and straight and handsome, my Gabriel. You could not forget him." She had forgotten that years bring changes. To her it was always the youth Gabriel she sought, the young Gabriel she would find. So in her hopeless search a score of years slipped by, and she came to the city of Philadelphia, where a red disease was raging, filling the streets with wagons piled with dead. Here she became a nurse, and the little figure, slight still but no longer deliciously curved, was seen in the horrors of the pest house wards and gliding from one sick chamber to another. And at length her search was over, her faith was justified. She had paused by a bedside in one of the hospital wards and gently lifted the sheet from the still form beneath. An old man lay on the pillows, hollow and gray of cheeks, shriveled of frame, dying. This was Gabriel. Gabriel, the stalwart, the brave of Arcadia. Evangeline gazed on the wasted form. Then the room rang to her cry, "Gabriel! Oh, my beloved!" The lids fluttered back from the fast-dimming eyes. He looked up and saw her, knew her. On the threshold of death he halted to whisper her dear name, "Evangeline." As the halting accents died away, she knelt and kissed him solemnly, an old, frail woman kissing an old, wrinkled man. But to her eyes it was the lover of her youth she kissed. To his it was the old Evangeline, beautiful and young. Upon her breast she pillowed his head that had gone unpillowed so long, and so held he slipped out of life, his lips even in death forming her name. Over the lifeless head Evangeline bowed her own. "Father," she whispered, "Father, I thank thee." This is the tale of Evangeline and her love. This is a tale of a love that was patient and brave and strong, and if tears shall fall in the telling, they are not tears of sorrow, but of thankfulness, and we may say with Evangeline, "Father, we thank thee that such things may be." End of section 6.